One day, she thought with a faint smile, one day, I will eat there. I will sit at a table just like them, and they will serve me a big plate of pounded yam with fried fish and efforiro. I will eat until my stomach is full. The thought gave her a tiny bit of strength. She opened her eyes again, watching the people pass by. Maybe today she will get lucky and find something to eat. Maybe someone will toss a leftover meal away. Until then, she waited, her eyes fixed on the restaurant, holding on to her little dream. A loud commotion broke out at the entrance of Golden Bites. Heads turned and a crowd quickly gathered to see what was happening. Standing in front of the restaurant was Emeka, a tall and handsome man in a perfectly tailored white suit. His polished shoes gleamed under the sunlight, and his neatly trimmed beard gave him an air of importance. But at that moment, his usually confident face was filled with nervousness. He took a deep breath and knelt down on one knee before Chama, his girlfriend of 3 years. Chama stood tall and proud, her expensive jewelry glittering in the sunlight. Gold bracelet clinked on her wrist, and a necklace that looked like it could buy a small car rested on her neck. She wore a long flowing dress that hugged her slender figure. Chama was beautiful and elegant, with skin as smooth as polished glass, but she also had a sharp, proud look in her eyes that matched her towering ego. The crowd lay in, holding their breath as Emeka opened a small velvet box. Inside was a silver ring with a tiny diamond that sparkled softly. His hand shook as he looked up at her with hopeful eyes. "Chioma," Emeka said, his voice trembling with emotion. "You are my joy, my sunshine, my everything. Will you marry me?" He smiled nervously, waiting for an answer. Chioma glanced at the ring, her eyes narrowing, her lips curled into a frown, and her perfectly shaped eyebrows rose in disbelief. "This?" she said, her voice tripping with disdain. "You think I'm a market woman? My friends have engagement rings that cost millions, and you are giving me this tiny thing." She flung the box away with her manicured finger as if it was dirt. The crowd gasped loudly. Some people whispered to each other, while others stared at Chama in shock. Emeka's heart sank. His face crumbled, his shoulders slopping in defeat. He felt the sting of embarrassment and heartbreak all at once. Chama crossed her arms and added coldly, "Come back when you are a real man, not a joker." She turned away without a second glance. Pain and anger boiled inside Emeka. His eyes burned, but he refused to cry in front of the crowd. He reached down, yanked the ring from the ground, and with a swift motion, threw it into the street. It bounced once and disappeared under a passing car. Without saying another word, Emeka stormed off, his footsteps heavy with frustration. The crowd watched in silence as he climbed into his car and drove away, leaving behind a stunned audience and a smirking Choma who flipped her hair and walked back into the restaurant as if nothing had happened. Amina's sharp eyes caught the glint of something shining near the edge of a gutter. Curious, she moved closer and saw the silver ring lying in the dirt. Without thinking twice, she dove for it, grabbing it just in time. A speedy Okada zoomed past, splashing muddy water on her face. She wiped her eyes with her wrapper, blinking as the dirt stung her skin. Her heart raced. This must be the ring that man threw away, she thought. She clutched it tightly in her hand and looked around. Not far ahead, she saw Emeka's black SUV slowly driving away. Without wasting a second, Amina took off in a full sprint, waving through the crowd like a snake in water. Her bare feet slammed against the hot ground as she ran, holding the ring as if it was a priceless treasure. "Oga, Oga," she called out, waving her hand as she reached the car. She pounded on the tinted window, breathless and desperate to get his attention. "Your ring, Oga, your ring." Emeka rolled down the window slowly, his face tired and his eyes red from holding back tears. His voice was rough and filled with sadness. "Keep it," he said quietly. "Sell it. It's useless to me." Amina shook her head firmly, her eyes wide with determination. No, Oga, love no be about money, she said, her voice soft but strong. Go back to her, she fit change. Not give up like that. Sometimes people could act bad, but love dey change their heart. Emeka stared at her in surprise. For a moment he said nothing. No one had ever spoken to him with such raw honesty, especially not a young girl like Amina. Her words pierced through his pain in a way he didn't expect. After a long pause, Emeka reached into his pocket and pulled out a bundle of cash. He counted 50,000 naira and handed it to her. Use this well, he said, his words calmer now. Take care of yourself. Amina's eyes widened in shock. Her hands trembled as she accepted the money. Thank you, Oga, she said, bowing slightly. God go bless you. Emeka gave her a small nod, rolled up the windows and drove away. Amina stood there for a moment, watching the car disappear into the distance. She clutched the money tightly, her heart full of gratitude. For the first time in a long while, she felt like her luck had finally come. Amina didn't rush to buy food, even though her stomach grumbled loudly. Instead, she went straight to the market. She bought 2 plastic buckets, a bar of soap, and some sponges. Her mind was made up. She wanted to start a small business. At a busy bus stop filled with the noise of honking horns and shouting conductors, Amina stood tall. She raised her voice, shouting with all her strength, I dey wash motor, 200 naira only. At first, the drivers laughed at her. Wetin dis small pikin sabi wash? One driver teased, shaking his head. Others chuckled and walked away, thinking she couldn't do much. But Amina refused to give up. She stayed at her spot, waiting patiently for someone to give her a chance. After a while, a kind doubtful driver with a rusty old van stopped and called her over. Wash am well, make I see, he said with a smile. Amina nodded quickly. She grabbed her bucket, filled it with water, and got straight to work. She scrambled the van with all her strength, washing off every bit of dirt and grime. Sweat dripped from her face, but she didn't stop until the van was clean and shining. The driver inspected the van and nodded in approval. You sabi work well oo, he said, handing her 200 naira. Amina grinned from ear to ear. She had earned her first money. By sunset, she had washed 6 small vehicles and made 1,200 naira. Her hands ached and her feet were sore, but she felt proud of herself. It was the most money she had ever made in one day. Days turned into weeks. Amina worked hard every day, waking up early and shouting for customers at the bus stop. She saved every naira she earned, tucking it safely into her wrapper. At night, she slept under a bridge, holding her bucket tightly to her chest like they were precious gold. Then one rainy night, disaster struck. As Amina slept, a group of thieves sneaked up on her. They searched her wrapper and found her hard-earned money. Before she could wake up, they disappeared into the darkness with everything she had saved. When Amina realized her money was gone, she broke down in tears. She cried until her chest hurt, feeling the weight of her loss. All her hard work seemed wasted. But after a while, she wiped her face and sat up, no shaking. She whispered to herself, her voice steady, I go start again. Determined not to give up, Amina picked up her bucket and stood tall. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was ready to begin her journey once more. Emeka couldn't stop thinking about the girl who had returned his ring that day. Her words stayed in his mind like a song he couldn't forget. Every afternoon, he drove past the busy bus stop, watching from a distance as Amina scrubbed cars with energy and focus. Despite the scorching sun, she never slowed down. Her determination amazed him. One afternoon, Emeka parked his car near the bus stop. He stepped out and called, Amina. Amina looked up from the car she was washing. Her face covered in sweat. She wiped her forehead with the back of her hand and smiled when she saw him. "You turned that 50,000 naira into this business?" Emeka asked, looking at her bucket and sponges in surprise. Amina grinned proudly. "Yes, Oga, I no dey beg again," she said, her voice filled with joy. "I dey work for my money now." Emeka nodded, impressed. "You are a hard worker. Come and work for me," he said. "I will pay you well to wash all the cars in my company." Amina's eyes light up with excitement. "I go do am well, Oga. Thank you." She started working at Emeka's company the next day, washing cars like she always did, but this time with more hope in her heart. During her break times, Emeka would sit with her and teach her how to read and write. Amina listened carefully, eager to learn. One day, while they were talking, Amina looked down and said softly, "My papa, him be fisherman. We no get plenty money. One day, hunger kill am. My mama too, she die for hospital because dem no fit treat her when we no see money." Emeka's heart sank. He stared at her for a moment, his chest tightening. "I grew up poor too," he said, his voice breaking. "I forget where I came from. I let money change me." Amina placed a hand on his shoulder. "Life no easy, Oga, but we fit always start again." Emeka nodded slowly. "You are right. We can always start again," he said with a small smile. For the first time in a long while, he felt truly humbled. One evening, the sun set and the office grew quiet. Chama suddenly appeared at Emeka's office door. Her eyes looked shiny with fake tears and her long eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings. She stepped inside, her voice sweet but shaking. "Emeka, I miss you," she said, her lips trembling. "I was foolish, please forgive me." Emeka leaned back in his chair, keeping his distance. His eyes narrowed. "You called me poor in front of everyone, Chama. You made me feel small." Chama moved closer and grabbed his hand gently. "I have changed, Emeka. I know I was wrong. Let's get married next week and forget everything," she said, her voice full of fake excitement. Outside, Amina was washing Emeka's car when she heard everything. Her heart sank a little. She scrubbed the car slowly, listening to the conversation. Later, when Emeka came outside, she looked up at him. "Oga, you won't take her back?" she asked softly, wiping her wet hands on her wrapper. Emeka let out a deep sigh. He looked at the sky for a moment before answering. "She only wants my money," he said quietly, "not me." Amina bit her lip and hesitated. Then she spoke with a shy smile. "You deserve better, Oga. Somebody wey go love you for who you be, not your money." Emeka looked at her, his eyes softening. He smiled gently and said, "Maybe I don't find that person already." Amina blinked, surprised, but she smiled back, feeling her heart flutter. For the first time, she saw hope in both their futures. Emeka's company threw a grand party at Echo Hotel, one of the most beautiful places in Lagos. The ballroom sparkled with light and the air was filled with laughter and the sound of music. Emeka looked sharp in a black tuxedo, his hair neatly tied. He smiled as he looked at Amina, who stood beside him. She wore a golden earring and boba, a gift from him. The bright fabric shone in the light, making her look like an African queen. "You look like a queen," Emeka said with a warm smile, his voice full of admiration. Amina smiled back, feeling like the most beautiful woman in the world. As they entered the grand hall, all eyes turned to them. The guests were dressed in expensive clothes, sipping on wine and chatting. But then the noise stopped when Choma dropped in the arm of Mr. Adebayo, Emeka's boss, spotted them. She wore a sparkling dress and her usual air of arrogance. When she saw Emeka with Amina, her face twisted with anger. "Emeka," Choma shouted, her voice sharp, "why are you with this rubbish?" She looked Amina up and down with disgust. Amina stepped forward without fear, her back straight and her head held high. She didn't flinch. Her voice was steady as she spoke, her words cutting through the air. "I be rubbish wey dey wash your boyfriend motor," she said, Her eyes looked on Chama. But you be gold wey rust don dey eat. No be money make person better, na character. The crowd murmured, shocked by Amina's bold words. Whispers spread through the guests as they watched the drama unfold. Emeka, standing beside Amina, looked at her with admiration. He could see how strong and confident she was. In that moment, Emeka knelt on one knee in front of Amina. He pulled out the silver ring that she had returned to him long ago. The crowd fell silent, waiting. Amina, Emeka said, his voice full with emotion, marry me. You are my true love. The only one who saw me for who I am, not my money. Amina's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled brightly without hesitation. She cried out, yes. The crowd erupted in cheers, but Chama, her face red with anger, turned to leave. She couldn't bear to see Emeka choose someone else. But as she tried to storm away, Mr. Adebayo, Emeka's boss, grabbed her hand. Chama, he said firmly, you lied about Emeka. You have been using him for his money. You are fired. Chama froze, shocked by the sudden change. What? She shouted, her face going pale. You can't fire me. But Mr. Adebayo shook his head. I can and I will. You have lost everything today. Get out. Chama's face turned from anger to embarrassment as she realized she had nothing left. Without any word, she stormed out, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floor. The room erupted in applause for Emeka and Amina. Amina smiled brightly, her heart full. She had found not just love, but respect, something far more valuable than gold. Amina's car wash business grew quickly. Word spread about the hardworking young woman who scrubbed cars with care and pride. As her business boomed, she hired other street kids who were just like she once was, struggling to survive. Amina didn't just pay them, she taught them more than just how to clean cars. She taught them dignity, respect, and the value of hard work. She made sure they knew that no matter where they came from, they had the power to build a better life. Soon, Amina's business became known all over Lagos. She expanded, opening new locations in different parts of the city. It wasn't just about money for her. It was about giving others the chance to rise up, just like she had. Emeka stood by her side through it all. They supported each other and their love grew stronger with each passing day. When they decided to get married, it wasn't a grand affair. They didn't need anything flashy or expensive. The wedding was simple but filled with love. During the ceremony, Emeka stood in front of Amina, his heart full. He looked at her, his eyes shining. Amina, he said softly, you saved me when I was lost. You brought me back to myself. You showed me that love is more than money. You showed me what really matters. Amina smiled, her eyes misty with emotion. She lay in and kissed him gently. No, Emeka, she whispered. We saved ourselves. Together, we made each other strong. Years went by and Amina's shine motors grew into a successful business with branches all over Lagos. She became a symbol of hope for many people who struggled to find their way out of poverty. Amina didn't just build business, she built a community, and her story inspired everyone who knew her. On their anniversary, Emeka took Amina to Golden Bite, the restaurant they had always dreamed of eating at together. It wasn't the same restaurant where they first met, but it held a special place in their hearts. They sat at a quiet table by the window, surrounded by the delicious smell of efo riro and fried fish. Amina smiled as she carefully cut into a plate of fried rice with silverware, something she never thought she would do. She looked around at the luxurious restaurants and thought about how far she had come. Her heart swelled with gratitude. As she took a bite, she whispered softly, "Thank you, Papa God, no more hiding." Emeka looked at her, his smile warm. He knew exactly what she meant. They had both come so far and now they could enjoy the fruits of their labor without shame. They had made their dreams come true and they were finally living the life they had always wanted. The moral lesson from this story is that hard work, self-respect, and helping others can lead to success. No matter your background, true love and success come from effort, perseverance, and supporting one and another. Hope you enjoyed the story. Please like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more interesting stories. Stay blessed and see you in my next video.